Mayra Flores is fired up. Let's get dialed in. Mayra Flores, a MAGA conservative firebrand, was the first Mexican-born woman to be elected to the United States Congress in 2022. After losing her bid for re-election, Flores has shown the grit, determination, and willingness to fight that those of us who know her have come to expect from her. She's running for Congress again, a rematch to reclaim the seat Democrat Vicente Gonzalez currently holds. Mayra Flores joins me now. Mayra, welcome to Texas Talkin'.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming on. And let's get right down to it. The question on the minds of most of your constituents is probably this: what are we going to do to solve this border crisis?
Fire Joe Biden, every single Democrat in office. That is really the solution. Under President Trump, none of this was happening. We had the most secure border we've ever seen. My husband has been a Border Patrol agent for now 15 years, and we didn't even see these type of numbers under the Obama administration.
That's right.
Actually, during Obama, he was known for being the deporter in chief. He actually had more deportations than President Trump. So we've never seen anything like this before here in South Texas. So this is very unique. This is historic numbers, and it's also very worrisome. It really worries me about the terrorists that are coming in, the child trafficking that is happening, the drugs that are being poured into our country. Fentanyl is the leading cause of death in this country. So it just worries me about the future of this country. None of this was happening, and it's not just the border situation, right? It's the economy that is also affecting everyone in this country. But the border situation needs to be handled now. The best way I could think of is not giving any more funding. If we don't secure the border, no funding for nothing. And it's important that Republicans in Congress, in the Senate, stand strong on this, because, you know, I see a lot of caving into the Democrats, and that needs to stop, because I feel like the more we give them, the more they take.
That's exactly right.
We try to negotiate, and they just take everything, you know. So, you know, I'm just tired. I'm just sick and tired of trying to work with the other side, which is important. Of course, it's important that, you know, Democrats and Republicans work together. But when the other side is against border security, they don't believe in border security.
No, they believe in open borders.
They actually think that our border is secured right now.
I know.
When you ask them, is the border secure? They'll say, yes, the border is secured. So we've had over 7 million people, way over that, way more than that, but we've had over 7 million apprehensions at the border, and they claim that it's secure. You know, it's very heartbreaking to see what's happening.
It is heartbreaking, and you said you're sick and tired of it. I know that you're not the only one with those sentiments. In fact, I met you in person during a Republican women's lunch in Beaumont last year, and you said something that has stuck with me since, and I think it speaks to a broader question that I'll ask next. You said, if I may paraphrase a little bit, you don't have to convince Hispanics to be pro-family, pro-hard work, and pro-God. It's in our DNA. That's who we are. Do you see a shift, Mayra, in Texas Hispanics, particularly moving to the Republican Party?
Absolutely. I see it every day. You know, we're Republican. You know, they just don't know that they're Republican. You know, I was raised very conservative. You know, people always ask me, how can you be a Republican being born in Mexico? And I'm like, well, because I was born in Mexico, so that's conservative.
There you have it.
You know, I was raised with those strong values of God, of life, of family, of hard work. That is just who we are. And they want me to come here to this country and put aside my core values for a political party. No political party is worth me putting aside the values that were instilled in me by my parents, by my grandparents. To me, those values are worth much more than that. So I always tell, you know, those who support the Democrat Party, are your values more important, or is your political affiliation more important? Because I'm Republican, but I'm a Christian first. You
Yes.
know, my values are first, not a political party. I'm not loyal to a political party. I'm loyal to God. I'm loyal to the love that I have for my family. I'm loyal to my country. That's who I am loyal to, not a political party. And I believe that a lot of people are just blind completely by their political affiliation and see no wrongdoing. And that's wrong on both sides, to be honest with you. You know, we can't say with a firm face and say our parties are perfect and there's no improvement.
That
No,
that's
that's absolutely not true.
that is a fantastic point, and it speaks to the fact that you brought up earlier of how many Republicans don't stand strong and become weak. It happens in our party as well, and it's like I say continuously lately. We need to be unified behind our principles, behind our conservative legislative priorities, not behind personalities. In other words, if there are
I
people with an
agree.
R after their name who are not advancing our conservative agenda, then we need to hold them accountable. Because at that
Absolutely.
point, what's the difference in electing them or a Democrat?
I agree 100%. And that's one of the reasons why Hispanics are, you know, trending Republican, because they see that the party that they've been supporting them has walked away from those values. You know, my father has voted Democrat all his life, and he says, I'm not walking away from the Democrat Party. They walked away from me. You know,
Yep.
because I always told him I walked away, right? I'm a walk away. Back in 2010, I told him, you know, hey, dad, based on how you've raised me, guess what? I'm Republican. He was like, no, you're not.
I
You're not
walked
a
away in
Republican.
2015, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, my dad was very disappointed at first. He was like, I can't believe you. I can't believe that you're voting Republican. And I said, Dad, you raised me Republican. All the values that you instilled in me align with the Republican Party. And for over a decade, we always argued politics at the kitchen table. And it's a beautiful thing to see now that now we actually agree. Thanks to Joe Biden, my dad is a full-blown Republican.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
he is never going back, especially after how the Democrat Party treated me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad
Yeah.
is never going
Vicious.
to is never going to go forgive them, neither is my family. So they're strong Republicans, and I'm so proud of my father, you know, for everything.
As well, you should be. And Myra, I think one of the most fundamentally important things that Donald Trump did for the Republican Party is the MAGA movement that he started, because it attracted people like me to the Republican Party when, you know, I was told my whole life the Democrats are for the working man, the common person, the regular guy. And maybe at some time in history they were, but they're certainly not that now. But the MAGA brand of conservatism really does appeal to regular people, because it's not any longer the party, it shouldn't be anyway, the party of corporate welfare, the party of woke special interests. You know, this Republican Party of today, because of Donald Trump, I think has brought in people from various walks of life and former Democrats,
Amen.
because they feel like there is a voice for them finally in the Republican Party.
Amen. I believe that we need more of our everyday Americans running this country. We
Yep.
have been told that, you know, you need to be a lawyer, you need to graduate from Harvard University to be a member of Congress, to be a senator.
Nonsense.
And that's not true. I mean, I respect everyone's, you know, profession, but no, we need everyone running in this country and leading this country. We need teachers, we need plumbers, we need nurses, we need mothers, we need fathers, you know, we need police officers, we need border patrol. We need every profession in Congress and in the Senate. So when we put in legislation, we remember, okay, what is it like to be in those shoes? And a
Yep.
lot of these members of Congress and in the Senate have no idea what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. They don't understand the struggle. And right now, Americans are a paycheck away from going homeless. That they
Absolutely.
can't afford missing a paycheck because they will get kicked out of their apartment, because they will lose their home. And that is the current situation. But a lot of people in Congress and in the Senate don't understand that. And that is why I encourage your everyday American, no, you need to run for office. All
Yes.
you need is a good work ethic, common sense, and love for this country, and let's go. Vámonos, let's lead this country. Like
Amen.
we can do this, and this country is the most amazing country. There is no other country like this one. But if we want it to be and maintain to be the greatest country in the world, it requires work. We
Yes.
got to put in work because people before us put in work to put us in the positions that we're in, right? So now it's our turn to put in work to make this country the greatest country in the world, because I believe that the middle class is dying. I believe that the American dream is dying in this country, and it's going to require people like myself, people like yourself. Honestly, it's going to require all proud Americans to rise up and
Yes. And
say
do
enough
something.
is enough, and do something and get involved. Yes, it's important that you get out there and vote, but we got to go above and beyond.
That's the
Help
bare
your
minimum.
Yes, that's the bare minimum. But guess what? For this election, we need to go above and beyond.
Yep.
You need to take people to go vote.
Yes. Go
You
out
need
and
to
block walk.
Yes, you need to encourage people to go vote. Find out who your congressman is, who your congresswoman is, and state representatives that are Republican and that they stand with your values, and go and help them get elected wherever you are. If you're in Texas 34, we need you. We need you. I can't do this by myself. And what people need to understand is that these are not our campaign, that doesn't belong to me. This campaign is ours. It's all of us. It's yours. And President Trump's campaign, it's yours.
That's right.
That's your campaign. It's not just President Trump's campaign. It's yours, because if he wins, you win.
Yep.
We all win. So it's important that you are part of that victory. What did you do to help President Trump get elected? What did you do to help Mayra Flores get elected? What did you do to get your congressman, congresswoman to get elected? So it's so important that everyone goes above and beyond. And I get it. We all have our work schedules. Trust me, I had my work schedule as well as a respiratory therapist, but I would always dedicate at least an hour or two when President Trump was running back in 2016. I was out there block walking and phone banking, for him, after work, on the weekend. So if you could just dedicate yourself 1 hour, if you can't do an hour a day, an hour a week, hey, that's something. That's a lot more than what a lot of people are doing. So, I'm begging the American people to get involved, because this is the most important election of our lifetime. I know people say this all the time, but it is the most important election of our lifetime. Ahora sí, I always say, ahora sí, it is. It's the time is now.
And I don't think it's a stretch to say that it could be the last election of our lifetime if it doesn't turn out the right way. I really don't believe that's a stretch. There's an old saying, Mayra, that all politics are local. And I want to bring things down to a more local level here in Texas, because most of my viewers live here in the great Lone Star State. I recently liked and shared one of your posts on X in which you said, quote, "I will never understand why Democrats like Terry Canales, who is hateful towards conservative Hispanics, has a chair position in the Texas House of Representatives. If we want to bring real change across Texas, we must move on from the old politics." First of all, I couldn't agree more. Second of all, do you think it's time we finally throw Dade Phelan, who appoints Democrats to committee chairmanships, a retirement party?
I don't agree with putting Democrats in the chairman position. I have seen over and over how, the state representatives in Austin put Democrats here in South Texas in powerful positions. So it makes it very hard for people like myself to win these areas. Why? Because you have Republicans in Austin putting these people in these powerful positions. And it's not like these people like Terry Canales is working with Republicans. No, he's actually working against Republicans here in South Texas. Yeah. He's constantly degrading, women like myself. He's constantly degrading conservatives for being, Hispanic conservatives. I remember last year he made a post of how I should be ashamed of myself because of my background being a Republican and how I was against biracial marriage. And I'm like, that
Wow.
is a complete
Disgusting.
lie. And I was like, that's a complete lie. I mean, we're 2022. Of course, anyone can get married in this country. You know, the Supreme Court already ruled that. Like, why is this even a conversation? But, you know, Democrats love to put in place bills, you know, just for messaging, you know, and you read the bill. And that's something that I want every American to know, that they need to read these bills before making a comment on social media, because there's no such thing as the title of the bill actually matches the description. Like when you actually read the bill, you realize that it does not match the title. Right. So they'll
Yes.
name it something really nice, something
Yes.
really beautiful, you know, to deceive the American people.
They
And
do the
then you
same
read
thing
it.
with a lot of their constitutional amendments.
Correct. And then you read it and you're like, wait a minute, 90% of it, it's all pork. Like it has nothing to do with the actual title of the bill. And that's what Democrats do. They always, you know, put these beautiful titles, you know, that you're just like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Why would anyone not vote for that? And then you read
Yes.
it and you're like, wow, what a lie. It's just to deceive people. Because I'll be honest with you, prior to Congress, I wasn't reading these bills. You know,
Yeah.
I was paying attention, but not like that, into actually reading the actual bill. And I realized, wow, how deceived have we been, and how deceiving, you know, these people are. So I encourage people, start reading these bills, because you'll be surprised what you see in there and what's being passed. And, you know, there's not a perfect bill. I gotta say that there is no such thing as a perfect bill. You know, I have voted in favor of a bill that I'm like, okay, I agree with 90% of it, you know, don't agree with this 10%, but I agree with this 90%. So let's go. It's a win, you know, whenever you have such bill. So I get it. But whenever it's a bill that it's only 10% good and 90% of it's bad, then no, you shouldn't support that bill, you know? So it's very difficult. I do have to, you know, say that, you know, voting for these bills are a lot harder than what people think, because you're like, I don't agree with that, but I agree with
Yeah.
this. And you have to vote for the entire bill. So you have to make, you know, very strong decisions. But I always said, look, if the majority of the bill is good, and it's worth voting for, absolutely. But if the majority of the bill is pork and it's nonsense and doesn't match the actual title, then I'm not supporting it.
And you would agree, in Texas anyway, in our House, we're shooting ourselves in the foot right out of the gate if we
Absolutely.
have Democrats in charge
Absolutely.
of these key committees, because they can
Absolutely.
influence whether or not a bill even goes to the floor for the vote. So
Exactly.
it makes no
No,
sense to me.
it makes no sense to me as well. And it needs to stop, because you think they'll do that for us?
Of
You
course not.
think that if they would be in control, that they would put Republicans in these important positions? No, they
Not today's
wouldn't.
Democrats. Not a chance. Not a chance.
not
And
not
that's always the
not a
rebuttal.
chance.
That's always
That's
the rebuttal
right.
I hear is, oh, well, we need to do this because if the Democrats ever took control and they were in charge of the Texas House, then they would award Republicans committee chair positions. And I'm like, no, they wouldn't. Are you kidding me? Not a chance. Well,
Yeah,
Mayra,
not a chance.
where can people go if they want to learn more about you, get involved, or donate to your campaign?
www.mayrafloresforcongress.com, but I am on all social media platforms, even on TikTok. I know that's not very popular for a lot of conservatives, but I actually believe that it's important that we are involved in every social media platform, because if we're not, they are. And it's important
Yep.
that we talk to the youth, to talk to that generation that is on TikTok, because I've seen so much misinformation. And if we're not there to spread the truth, our truth, then that is going to deceive all this generation. So I actually encourage people to get on TikTok.
I'm on
You know,
TikTok.
it's just so important, you know, and I know the concerns that a lot of Republicans have, but shouldn't we have those same concerns with Facebook and Instagram? We should hold all social media platforms, accountable and the same rules. That's what I believe, and I don't believe that any government should dictate what social media platform you use. To tell the American people, we're going to take away that platform away from you because it's not good for you.
Yeah,
I'm
that goes
like,
down a very dangerous road and
yeah,
empowers the government entirely
exactly.
too much.
The moment, we allow the government to tell us what social media platform is good for us, I mean, what's next? They'll take away other social media platforms. So no, we can't allow that. But I do agree that it shouldn't be in any government cell phone or, government computer. Absolutely. I agree with that. But we as Americans should have the right to decide what platform we use and hold accountable all social media, platforms to the same standard.
Couldn't agree more. Mayra Flores, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thank
Vaya con
you.
Dios to you. Uh, you've been
Vaya con
dialed
Dios.
in to Texas Talking with Shiloh Platts. May God bless you and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas.